Okay, good evening, sir. So today I'm going to explain about formal and versus national definitions in 4.4. So, formal definitions. A formal definition is a precise and technical descriptions that focuses on the specific linguistic and linguistic characteristic of a word's or phrase. This type of definition relies on the structural properties and grammatical rules that indicate how words functions within a sentence. For example, like when we look at the word struck, we can analyze its formal qualities. Struck is classified as a noun because it can take various grammatical markers typical of nouns such as article, like for example a truck or the truck, and the pluralizations example like trucks. The ability to add s at the end to from the plural is a key feature that helps identify truck as a noun in English. And then in syntax positions in sentence, a noun typically serve as subject or objects. For example, in sentence, the truck is fast. The truck serves as the subject. And then for the national definitions, in contrast, a national definition implies the meaning and conceptual understanding of word. This approach looks at what the word signifies in everyday language and how it relates relates to our experiences or ideas. For instance, the national definition of a noun could be described as follows. And then the meaning of nouns. A noun can be understood as the term that represents a person or a place, thing, or idea. In this sense, truck qualifies as a noun because it refers to a tangible object used for transporting goods. And the national approach highlights the function of words in communication rather than its grammatical structures. Like the example of formal definitions, like the words of book, and the characteristic can be pluralized, like a books can take article, like a book or the book, and can function as a subject in sentence, like the book is on the table. And then for the national definitions example, like seems like the words of book Meaning, a book is a written or printed work consisting of pages bound together, often containing stories, information, or knowledge. And then we are so I'm going to next into word classes and purse. Word classes, also known as part of speech, categorize words based on their functions in a sentence. The main classes includes there have 4 types of parts of speech. Number 1 is nouns. Words that name people, place, things, or ideas. Example include teachers, GD, apple, and happiness. And then number 2 is verbs. Words that express actions, state, or occurrence. Example like include run, is, think, and become. And number 3 is adjective. Words that describe or modify nouns. Example includes happy, blue, tall, and interesting. And then for the last is adverbs. Words that modify verbs, adjective, or other adverbs, often ending in ly. Example include quickly, very, and well. And then next about purse. A purse is a group of words that function as a single unit within a sentence. The type of purse is typically named after its head, which is the main word that determines the purse classifications. And like noun phrases, a noun phrase centers around a noun or pronoun. It may include determiners like articles, adjective, and modifiers. Example, the big red truck is a noun phrase where truck is the head noun and the big red describe it. Describe the truck. And then verb purse. A verb purse consists verb purses. So a verb purse consists of a main verbs and any auxiliary or helping verbs. Example like has been running is a verb purse where running is the main verbs and has been are auxiliary verbs. Like for the example in sentence like noun purse, the tall building is new. Here the tall building is noun purse because it acts as a single unit that refers to a specific entity, right? And then for the verbs example of purse, like see it's running fast. Is running is the verb purse where is helps indicate the tense and running is the main action verbs. And then next is a noun purse Noun phrases are essential components of sentences that revolve around a noun or pronouns. They can be quite complex, containing various modifiers that people additional information about the noun. The noun. And let's move into the key characteristic. For the first is head nouns, the central word in a noun phrase. It can be a singular noun, for example like cat, or plural nouns like cats. And then number 2 is determiners. Determiners, words that introduce noun pairs and provide content. Example includes article a, the, demonstrative these, those, and possessive my or her. And then modifiers, adjective or other phrases that describe the head nouns. For example, in the happy dog, happy is a modifier that describe the nouns dogs. And then we are moved into the types of nouns. First is count nouns. This can be counted and have both singular and plural forms. For example, like apple, 1 apple and 2 apples. Like they have different pronouns in the end. And then number 2 is noun count. For the number 2 is noun count nouns. This cannot be easily and typical do not have a plural forms. Example includes milk, information, and furniture. They are cannot to be counted. And for the example of count noun example, 3 cats are playing. So cat is a count noun because you can count individual cats, right? So yeah, it is a count nouns. And then for the non-count nouns example, the furniture is new. Furniture is a noun count. Non-count nouns because it refers to a collection of items, but it's not counted individually, right? So yeah, we cannot count of them. And then verb phrases are crucial in conveying actions, state, and occurrence with sentence. They can vary in complexity, containing a main verb along with auxiliary verbs that provide additional grammatical information such as tense or aspect. And then types of verbs. So number 1 is regular verbs. These follow a consistent pattern from their forms. For example, the best from work. Work has a regular past tense of work. And then for the number 2 is irregular verbs. These do not follow standard patterns and can change forms unpredictably. For instance, like go changed to went in the past tense. And Next is verb purse structure. A verb purse can consist of a single verb or combination of verbs. For example, number one example of a simple verbs purse like she sleeps. Here, sleeps is the main verbs, right? So yeah, this is the simple verbs purse. And then for the next, number two is example of a complex verb purse. She has been sleeping. Yeah, like the example like she has been sleeping. In this case, has been are auxiliary verbs that help from the present perfect continuous tense. Example, and for the number three is regular verbs example like he work. I mean he works to school every day. Here, works is the simple present tense form of the regular verb work. Work. And then the example, the next is number 4, irregular verbs example. Like, she went to the store yesterday. Went is the past tense of the irregular verbs go, right? So, yeah, there is a sample of past tense. And number 5 is clause and sentence. Main clause, number 1. A main clause is a complete thought that can stand alone as a sentence. It contains at least a subject and a predicate, making it a fundamental building block of English syntax. For example, like the dog barks. The dog is the subject and barks is the predicate, right? So yeah. And number 2 is subordinate clauses. Subordinate clauses or dependence clauses adds additional information to a sentence but cannot stand alone. It typically begins with a subordinating conjunctions like because, when, it, or although. And next, about type of clauses. One is finite clauses. These contain verbs that is marked of tense. For example, she ran fast. The verb runs is present tense. And then number 2 is non-finite clause. These contain verbs that are not marked for tense. For instance, to run fast. And she want to run fast. And clauses functions. Clauses function describe the roles that different parts of a sentence play in relations to each others. Common clause function includes like subject, the noun or noun person that performs the action of the verbs. Example, in the cat sleeps. The cat is the subject, right? Like for the example in sentence, subject subject, the child plays. The child performs the actions. And then number 2 is predicate. the part of the sentence that tell what the subject does or is usually contains the verbs. Example, in the cat sleeps. Sleep is the predicate. Like example in sentence, the child plays in the park. Plays in the park tell what the children is doing. And then next is direct object, the noun or the noun person that receives the action of the verb. Example, the cat chased the mouse. The mouse is the direct object. So for example in sentence, direct object, like the child kicked the ball. So the ball is what was kicked, the receiver of the actions. And then next is subject complement, a words or parts that follow a linking verbs and describe or this identifies the subject. Example, the cat is fluffy. Fluffy is the subject complements. Like example sentence, subject complements, like the child is happy. Happy provide more information about the subject and the child. So in summary, in 4.4 about English syntax is understanding this foundational concept of English syntax from versus national definitions, word classes, pairs, nouns and verb phrases, clause and their functions enables you to analyze to construct sentence effectively. And next 6 English words and the meaning. Words are made up of similar parts that help convey meanings. Understanding how words are built and help us understand language better. Like plural marker, this is a part added to the end of nouns to indicate that there is more than one. Example, the word cat means one animal, right? When we add s to make cats, it shows that we are talking about 2 or more cats. So something like that. And then number 2 is morphemes. A morpheme is the smallest unit of meaning in a word. Every word is made up of one or more morphemes. There are 2 main types of morphemes. Number 1 is free morphemes. This can stand alone as a complete words. Example, the words tree is a free morpheme because it can exist by itself, right? And then number 2 is bonds morphemes. This cannot stand alone and must be attached to a free morpheme to having meanings. Like for example, the suffix ed in work to attack to work to show that the action happened in the past. So let's go into the type of morphemes. Morphemes can be further divided into different categories based on their functions. Like number 1, inflections morphemes. These are used to express grammatical relationships. They modify a word to show tense, mood, voice, aspect, persons, number, gender, and change, but they do not change the word's core meaning or its part of speech. Like the example, third person singular, he runs. Here, S show that he is the one who runs. And then plural, like bird, become beards, birds, with this addition to indicate the more than one bird, birds, and next is number 2 is derivational morphemes. This change the meaning of the word its grammatical category. They can be prefix added to the beginning of suffix added to the end. And what else? And meaning types. Meaning can be categorized in different ways. Like number 1 is grammatical meanings. This is the meaning a derives directly from the words and their structure in sentence. It is based on grammatical rules. Example, in the sentence, the dog barks. Dog is a noun and barks is a verb in the present tense. The structure tells us who is doing the action and when, right? And number 2 is pragmatic meaning. This refers to the meanings derived from a content in which language is used. It consider the social situations, the relationship between speakers and implies meaning. Example, when a father say to his children, like, let's go, the words themselves suggest movement, but the full meaning is a polite way to tell them to hurry up. Next, we are move into synonyms and antonyms. Understanding relationships between words help us expand our vocabulary. So, synonyms, words that have similar meanings. Knowing synonyms can help us avoid repetitions in writing and speaking. Example like happy and joyful. Both express a similar feeling or pleasure, right? They have the same meaning, but there are two words. And the antonyms, words that have opposite meanings, recognize antonyms, and antonyms can enhance our understanding of contrast in language. Example, hot and cold represent opposite temperature, right? So there are difference. And what else? Alright, and then next about the compound words. Compound words are formed by combining two words more free morphemes and create a new meaning. Example, like the toothbrush. This word is made up of tooth and brush together. They describe a brush used for cleaning teeth. And then like the football, this combine foot and ball, referring to a ball games played primarily with the feet, something like that. And then what else? What else? So I think in summary, words are built from similar parts called of structured words that compares their meanings better by categorizing meaning and recognizing relation between words. We can enhance our language skill and communicate more effectively.